We're looking now at an early 19th century American leather binding. It's very well preserved. You notice the smooth spine is typical of the era with the simple gilt rules and the contrasting gilt title label. And you'll notice here that the lettering is often somewhat uneven and amateurish looking, which is very typical for bindings of this vintage. The leather is acid treated, and so you get a pattern which is very interesting and nice. And we see here an owner's inscription from Christmas of 1830, and he paid 30 cents for the book according to that inscription. And at the front we see this folding world and double hemisphere map published by Thomas and Andrews, and the title refers to latest discoveries. The title page tells us that it's printed in September of 1818, printed by Ezra Lincoln. It's published in Boston and sold at their bookstore. Jedidiah Morse Books went through many editions. He was one of the first writers about geography to present geographical knowledge of the country and the world from a perspective that was uniquely American. His writing tends to be fairly opinionated and is criticized today for that reason. Here is a nice folding map of North America from the latest discoveries, 1806. Interesting to note the time lag in years of dates between the map and the title page. What's interesting here as well is this Louisiana named here in this large kingdom of Quivira and New Albion for California. This profusion of place names along what's today the Canadian coastline and Alaska, and this huge lake and so on. I mean, despite its relative simplicity, it's quite an interesting cartographic document produced in the United States more than 200 years ago. There are sections for each of the states with a description and of their features. And what's interesting here is that Illinois is still a territory. And if we go on, we will come to there's Tennessee, some early flowers pressed in. Let's just see what else we find here just by a random flipping through. Mississippi Territory, a part of it erected into a state, 1816. Louisiana in its original extent. We see this territory was erected into a state early in 1818, the date of the book. There's Spanish America, there's Florida. You know, it's a very interesting discussion, and there is the whole world is covered in the second half of the book, and a series of questions designed for instructional purposes. He was writing primarily educational geographies for school systems. And so this well-preserved example of a classic early geographical textbook is currently available on my website, briandimambro.com.